We're going to start out talking about something that I find interesting and a little bit scary. And I don't know about you, but you're welcome to call in with your thoughts when you hear the story. There's a growing trend, right, Brian, in home electronics, where they're becoming increasingly connected to each other and to the internet. And, you've got the ability to control your thermostat now with apps that can change the temperature of your home from
smart homes
remotely. Yes, smart homes, sometimes referred to as the Internet of Things, where things are connected to the internet and to each other. But there's a downside to that, right?
Yeah, definitely. Granted, the idea of a smart home or the Internet of Things, and if you start seeing the acronym IoT all over the internet, that's exactly what that means, is Internet of Things. This is a pretty old idea. Microsoft toyed with it in the 90s, and science fiction has messed with it for 50 years. But we're starting to see what exactly that is shaping up to be. And so this is an article from VentureBeat, and it's Hello, Dave, I control your thermostat. Google's Nest gets hacked. Now, it's important.
Sorry, Dave. It's already plenty warm in here.
Yeah, I can't do that, Dave. Of course, that's a reference to 2001. Now,
what happened to that?
Yeah, right.
2014, we're not even close.
Yeah. Though they did get right that long distance would kind of go away in 2001. That did happen, albeit about 10 years later.
But anyway, Microsoft was talking about smart homes since the late 90s, right?
Correct. Yeah, they have. And I mean, full picture of what that would look like too. But I don't know that it was so internet connected as what we have now. Maybe that's a cause for greater concern. Now, it's important before I start reading the article that this has been done in theory at a Black Hat conference, which is a big security conference. I mean, it's been done physically, but it hasn't happened to anybody's home yet. But that's the importance of these conferences, is to show off that these things are possible and they're scary. And there's a million things to get afraid of.
Thank goodness for the hackers that are exposing the vulnerabilities. They're uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies.
That's right.
And this is, people are all scared to death of hackers, but consider that, the conference called Black Hat, which means the bad hackers.
Yeah.
They get together and they say, look at what we could do. Now, that's what you'd want. You'd want your bank robbers saying, hey, Mr. Bank Manager, see how we can break into your bank?
Yeah.
That's what the good bank robbers do. I guess they're not even bank robbers. That's what the good planners do.
There's always a flip side, right? Like if they could hack into someone's thermostat or to someone's car and start remote controlling their car, or break into someone's hotel room by programming the keys themselves, then someone could do that to them. And, these are security conscious people that, want their safety and privacy too. So of course, it makes sense to expose these vulnerabilities so that everyone can benefit from them.
Yeah, a lot of self-interest here. And that's an important thing to bring up, too, is that, hacking really does have this ugly stigma in society when, guess what? Most of the hackers are actually solving the problems before you even have to experience them. It's really unfortunate that people see them as some kind of dangerous people out there. So
and the laws actually discriminate against them. Like the penalties for so-called computer hacking are like way worse than any violent crime you could imagine,
Yeah, absolutely.
And people often get charged with it for not harming another person.
Sure. And I think you're going to see in this story that really it's a lot of the tech companies like Google themselves that are the actual danger in society, because they're not doing their due diligence as far as, plugging holes in security and whichever else. So I'm going to read on here. Of course, the article starts off with, hello, Dave. The immortal words of HAL, the rogue computer in 2001: A Space Odyssey, showed up on the display of a Google Nest appliance control system. That's not supposed to happen. So this is a bug, not a feature, right? But hackers at the Black Hat Security Conference this week made those words appear on a Nest display after they showed how they compromised the device in front of an audience of hundreds. The vulnerability of the Nest device, which can control your thermostat or lighting, shows the flaws in security that could slow down the rush to connect all of our devices to the internet in the so-called Internet of Things. Hacking smart devices was a big theme of this year's show, and boy, was it. There's more than this article even talks about. This goes back to the theme of what we are sacrificing in the name of convenience, said Daniel Buentello, a student security researcher at the University of Central California. This is a computer that the user can't put an antivirus on. Worse yet, there's a secret back door that a bad person could use and stay there forever. It's a literal fly on the wall. Nest uses your home sensors to tell when you are home, and it adjusts the temperature to your liking. If you are not home in the afternoon, Nest will put on the heater or air conditioner into low energy mode. It works so well that Google paid $3.2 billion to acquire the company earlier this year. And Nest is coming out with more than just thermostat and light controls.
I should hope so, because if this is what the Internet of Things is, a better thermostat, color me highly unimpressed. Okay? So I have an outdoor wood boiler at my house. I'm constantly fiddling with the power,
right.
the thermostat, and I'm fine with that. I'm just okay with that. Mine's programmable, admittedly, but I kind of, I'll adjust it here and there. Now, it's like turning a ship. If I come back from vacation, I've had it set down at 55 or something like that. It literally takes a day for this outdoor boiler to just be able to get the house from 55 to 69 or whatever, because I keep it lower than my wife will keep it.
Right.
And why would you, you could see the danger in basically having the information be able to read your patterns and tell when you're home or not. I mean, that's basically perfect for someone who wants to rob you, right?
That sounds pretty bad.
Yeah.
I'll read on
here. Does
here.
it post to Facebook? Brian is now out of the home.
Yeah, exactly.
This is another thing. These people with their, they're going on Facebook or whatever and telling you where they're checking in and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
What a great idea. By the way, your home's going to be burglarized. The percentage chance of your home being burglarized by somebody you know is about as good as somebody you don't know. And you know far fewer people than you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't help that, honestly, there's no security measure, even ones that are getting implemented through the Internet of Things. All of these security systems throughout time that we've had suck. They're all terrible. They're not going to hold back really anybody that's very determined. And so the worst thing that could happen, the best security you had was that people thought you were home. But now, hey, with the right setup, they're going to know that you're not home, whether you put a thing that makes it look like your TV's on in the room or not.
Exactly. So, and a lot of people now are, I at least see a trend. More people are working at home. More people are starting their own businesses.
Sure.
I think more people are realizing that remote work is really the way to go if you want more freedom in your lifestyle.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's awesome, totally. Speaking as someone who does work from home, Brian and I both do, and it's been great for our relationship because we get to spend more time together. You don't realize
that can be bad for some relationships.
Yeah, sure.
Relationships that you should end.
Yeah. Well, it depends on your personal preferences, right? Like some people want more space, but it can get really ridiculous when you start to realize, like, hey, I'm spending so much time with my coworkers who I didn't choose and maybe don't even like very much, more than with my spouse or my children in some cases, right? And then you start to think about that and you're like, well, why am I really doing this? And remote work can really be a great solution to that. But I mean, is this
lunches? By the way, there's so many values, so much value to remote work. So you making food at home, healthier, less costly. Clothing is a big deal. You spend a lot of money on professional clothing. Gasoline back and forth, the dangers of being in an automobile. That's the most deadly thing that in many age groups that people do is get in an automobile, but they continue to do it every day to go. And so there's a cost, there's a savings in many ways for working at home. And even if you have to take a slight hit to do it.
Yeah. How much are you saving? I mean, what's that meme about working is trying to make money to afford the car that you need to drive to work, to afford the house that you never are in because you're always at work, and to afford the nice suit that you have to wear to work. Yep. And if you didn't have to go to work, you wouldn't have to worry about many of those things. Do you work from home, or do you have Nest and you want to talk about the
there's a lot
security
more to talk about this.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.